Venezuela, we're now learning that Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez has expressed doubt about the United States with an intention to move warships near Venezuela's coast in order to, as the U.S. claims, combat drug trafficking. Now, the Pacific Ocean is a bigger route than the Caribbean for maritime trafficking of cocaine. And this is what the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime has stated in its 2023 Global Report on Cocaine, citing figures from the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. These figures show that 74% of cocaine exported from South America is trafficked over the Pacific and not the Atlantic. Listen in.
¿Se dan cuenta que es una gran farsa? Es una farsa, toda una falsedad que solo busca agredir a Venezuela, asegurarse un territorio geográficamente que le sea noble a las rutas del narcotráfico y asegurarse las inmensas reservas energéticas de nuestro país. Estamos listos y prestos. ¿Para qué? Para defender a Venezuela, para defender la paz, para defender la integridad de nuestro territorio, para defender el futuro de nuestros hijos, de nuestras hijas, para defender la felicidad social, para defender el crecimiento económico. Estamos listos. Venezuela está lista. Y esperamos que cesen ya estas mentiras. Y esperamos que el gobierno de los Estados Unidos actúe con seriedad y con mesura. Y en apego al derecho, tanto de su país como al derecho internacional.
Meanwhile, Venezuela's Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino Lopez has stated that Venezuela is vigilant as the U.S. has scaled up its military presence in the southern Caribbean in order to combat drug trafficking. Venezuela has meanwhile pledged to sharply boost troops in coastal states in order to tackle drug trafficking. This move, of course, comes after the U.S. Ordered the deployment of an additional 10 fighter jets to Puerto Rico to carry out operations against cartels. Listen in to what Venezuela's defense minister has said.
Todo el despliegue apuntando a Venezuela, de buques destructores, del empleo de drones, del empleo de helicópteros levantados, decolados desde las mismas cubiertas de los buques. Todo eso lo estamos observando desde aquí, desde Venezuela. Lo estamos observando porque es un pueblo que está vigilante, está alerta, no está asustado, no tiene miedo, pero está en permanente alerta, vigilante, repito, de toda situación que pueda atentar contra nuestra seguridad física y contra nuestra soberanía. Estamos haciendo un trabajo serio, para alistar al país, para preparar al país. Más amenaza, más preparación. Más amenaza, más preparación.
Still with us on the broadcast is Mr. Ross Feingold. Thank you so much for staying with us. We've heard what the Venezuelan officials have had to say. But what's also interesting is that they've pointed out that a majority of these narcotic shipments, the trafficking takes place over the Pacific and not through the Atlantic, not through the Caribbean itself, where the Trump administration has in fact stationed its warships and is also planning to increase the presence of its fighter jets as well. So in light of these statistics, which is backed by data from the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration itself, how do you think the Trump administration will now go about defending its buildup that is taking place?
I think the Trump administration has to defend it in front of Venezuela. Where Venezuelan government officials could complain all they want. But the fact is, even if the majority of drugs coming from Central and South America are transited through the Pacific side and not the Atlantic side of the region, that still means there's a large amount of drugs coming through the Atlantic and the Caribbean side of South and Central America. So the protestations by the Venezuelan government officials, frankly, are a bit ridiculous. And it's certainly not going to stop the Trump administration from doing what it's doing. President Trump has decided on this deployment, and the relevant government, U.S. government agencies and the military are acting accordingly. And you know what? They're definitely going to stop some drugs. Now, the U.S. does have significant amount of resources on the Pacific side as well, and arguably it could deploy more. But again, President Trump has made this decision. He's going to target shipments in the Caribbean, off the coast of the South America, and that's the policy. There's no complaints about from Venezuela officials that's going to change that.
All right, sir. With that, I would like to thank you for taking out time